Welcome to AssetRush Talk, where we talk with the pioneers of the financial industry. Today I'm here with Marc from Julius Baer. So Marc, please introduce yourself.
Thanks for the invite. My name is Marc Blunier. I work and I'm running the investment department, investment promotion and solution at Julius Baer, which is in essence the department who is responsible for the global product shelf across all the different product lines, from equities, fixed income, funds, and as well newly now for digital assets. And it's a great pleasure to be here, but I also need to tell you, Philippe, I really had a bit of a rough time to start with digital asset a couple of years ago. And the reason why that was when my daughter, and I don't tell you now the age, but she's still a teenager, approached me and wanted to explain me how you can get rich in digital assets, in cryptocurrencies. And obviously I wanted to understand, where she had this great source in terms of information. And I realized that the information she got was from influencers out of TikTok. And don't get me wrong, I don't have any problems with influencers. But I felt a bit insulted, having like 20-year plus background in banking and getting to learn from my daughter how you can get rich in financial markets.
So we're right in the topic. What drives you personally in the job you have right now? What drives you with Julius Baer?
Yes, as I said before, a couple of years I didn't want to worry that much about crypto anymore. I got my frustration. I was a bit insulted by my daughter, I have to say. But when I started then at Julius Baer back in 2019, it is a fact that Julius Baer was probably like the first traditional bank here in Switzerland who came up with a fully fledged offering related to digital assets, which included the advisory side, which included to formulate own house views, research views, which even went so far that we thought about wealth planning. How can you integrate, digital assets in your last will? And that obviously forced me again to get re-engaged in digital assets. And rather than being kind of insulted by my daughter, I was super excited about the vision and the entrepreneurship of Julius Baer at this time to really engage in a so-called nascent asset class.
And now, how do you see the impact? How do you see the impact of your personal actions within the bank, within the sector?
It's always challenging to refer to your own personal action. I personally think, we all playing in a team sport. It's an ecosystem where everyone needs to contribute into it. And I truly believe what is going on here will be a coexisting of kind of traditional finance and kind of decentralized finance. And what do I mean with it? I think it's clear for everyone that blockchain and all this technology will fundamentally change the way how we are doing banking decades, the next couple of decades. But it's equally true that the need of a client, of a private client for advice, to support him to navigate through something which is difficult sometimes to understand, which is super volatile. I think that's clearly the challenge, and that's where I always believe that traditional private banking services are needed, and that's again where I believe this coexistence will happen and will stay.
Now, you mentioned already the ecosystem, and I could assume that Julius Baer and you have a holistic view on your clients, on the industry. So these elements all play together. So what would you say is the most important in that holistic overview of the sector, of your industry?
The way how I think about it, I really think that digital assets should get embedded as well from a client perspective into as well and combined with traditional assets. And this is why I think our role in Julius Baer is really to give to our clients really holistic advice, because I truly believe that the client wants to have safe storage, not only for traditional assets. This is equally important for him for digital assets. That's why we obviously are providing that service. He wants to have one statement, portfolio statement, where he sees the combination of like digital assets, traditional assets, and then again, it's beyond only assets, it's as well all the other needs which any private client has when it comes to life events, when it comes to wealth planning and the like. And that's where I see us as Julius Baer to really contribute in this ecosystem and to really make a difference. And I also believe, what is the core of private banking? It's really giving advice to clients. And we all know at the moment we are in a difficult time. We see a lot of really nasty headlines about all the frauds and the like. But we as an organization, we don't want to shy away, because it's our duty to really give hand, to try to give hand to our clients, to advise them and to try to help them to navigate through all those noises, because some of them are really noises, and there it's important that you have a reliable partner at side.
So, okay, you spoke about this consolidation of these assets, you spoke about this holistic point of view, and now where do you also see the growth with these new asset classes, with these developments in the future? Does that prepare your clients and the bank for growth?
I think if you look into the fundamental technology behind the distributed ledger and the whole blockchain, that again will fundamentally change the way how we are doing banking going forward, because you can really do a lot as well in the back end to make it more efficient, to make it more scalable. And that's the first thing what I see. I truly believe with this underlying technology, we will change the operating model of a bank, not today and not tomorrow, but this will happen. We also will try to find a new way how we engage with clients, and this is equally important. We speak about digital assets here, but you can also speak about digital content. I think you really need to transform the way how you also engage with clients. That's super important, because it is a fact that we also see a change of generation in terms of our clients. And we know that the new kids on the block, they potentially want to engage with us differently than the clients of today. And that's where I believe, to stay relevant, we need to really engage in all of that.
Certainly on the digital asset side, that's a huge topic on the horizon, actually already in motion. We see that everywhere. And I actually also think, when you mentioned before the FTX cases or other cases that maybe still are immature, I think that Julius Baer plays a big role in actually bringing that confidence, that trust into this industry for such assets. So in this way, how do you see yourself working forward with it? Now you have the custody solutions. Now you also engage in trading on that side. You engage on the product side. What are the next steps there now, either for the client servicing or also for your side in engaging with the clients?
I will try to answer that question immediately, but you made an important point here as well. You know, all the headlines, and those are primarily at the moment negative. And I think this is something everyone who wants to get engaged needs to try to mentally separate, you know, what is the speculation side and what is the true value behind, what is the utility behind. Now, you said it right. I think we have a lot of services which we have built up. And trust me, building up servicing in an advisory context is super complicated and super painful. But again, we are a private bank. We didn't want to be only like an execution platform that the client can execute their cryptos. We really wanted to, again, advise on all the different aspects. At the moment, what we are looking into staking capabilities and all of that, because we see the true value there. The big topic at the moment for our client is as well like safe storage, and that's as well not a surprise following all the headlines. And here again, we have cold, hot storage properly and audited, and this is exactly where we see future growth. But I think we already have a lot. It takes a bit more time. I still would call it we are kind of a winter getting to the spring, and I think we are ready for clients approaching us for all those services. But at the moment, it needs to we need to have a bit more time, and people and the ecosystem and traditional people also needs to get more time to get more involved in that space, and this will take time. And the second element, we don't only want to be relevant for traditional clients. Obviously, there are as well a lot of new kind of investors out of the industry. And there you also need to see how you can onboard them. How can you ensure that as well they are properly invested? And properly invested also means that you need to look into diversification and the like. And as well here, we are engaging a lot with those clients to really understand the broader need of them. They are super advanced when it comes to their area, no question about that. But again, as well there we see a big need in terms of holistic advice and trying to give them a good guidance, what else they should look at.
You just mentioned it, diversification. I think it's a big part of the game. It's clearly something that your clients want to see in many different ways. Can you elaborate a bit more on what the hot topics are on that side? Or how do you see that in the face of time today?
I think as well here there are a lot of studies which are showing, if you add some of the digital currency and digital asset, what it means in terms of portfolio context. And here as well, we looked into that. We also did our own study. We know if you put a small portion in terms of crypto assets into your portfolio, most likely you have a bit more upside because it's more volatile. Are you really protected on the downside? Probably not, because it really behaves similar as a risky asset, but it clearly gives you a bit of upside. And the way how we see and think about it, at the moment we are still rolling out all those services and the whole product shelf within our organization, and we started with the investment advisors. We educated them, and they had to go through a really tough module, and they had to pass tests and the like, that we felt comfortable that they are eligible to give advice. And now we're starting to broaden that kind of pilot, if one could say. Now we are having a group of RMs, I think it's roughly 70 RMs, who now are eligible as well to advise on digital assets. And this is where the portfolio and the portfolio construction and diversification plays a very critical role in that education, because it's important, again, that you are properly diversified. And you see that as well, a lot of people and other industries are working with data. And we all look to Netflix and Amazon and think, hey, how great are they?
Oh, yeah.
But they are always amplifying existing behaviors. If you like, action film, you always get action films. But from an advisory perspective, I think we all agree that this is not the right approach, because the diversification element is super critical. And that's exactly how we try to approach the topic as well when it comes to digital assets. And we have on some of the digital assets, we have even formulated a so-called house research view, which as well was super difficult because there is no methodology around. We had to build them by ourselves. But now on some of the tokens, digital assets, we formulated a view. Do we like or dislike that token or this digital asset? And based on that, we feel comfortable that we can even give better advice to our clients.
So maybe on a bit of another note, where do you think that you oppose with others in the industry? Maybe also you see that there are more players coming up that fragment the market and have not a holistic view. Where do you think that for you or for the organization you oppose most to the players that you see out there?
It's still very surprising for us that Julius Baer is not always on top of mind when it comes to digital assets, because I always hear different organizations, different banks, and that's where I think we need to get better, in communicating what we are doing. And we didn't want to do that at the beginning because you need to do your job. You need to build up all what needs to get built up. And to answer your question, all what we have done was building up digital assets in a way that we are able to give advice, which is totally a different complexity than having other organization, banks, who are allowing the client to execute, which is rather straightforward. It's as well not simple, but obviously it's a different type of complexity you need to deal with. And I truly believe that this is the main differentiator, that again, we went through, I call it a bit the painful way, in trying to have digital assets as well fully embedded in our advisory context, which makes it a bit more difficult to get the ball rolling. But as soon as you have done that,
I totally see the difference there. I mean, you described it well. It's the advice that takes a lot of courage and needs a lot of intelligence and also embeds a lot of trust into what you do, and certainly stands also with the name of Julius Baer. Plus the holistic view of actually looking at new asset classes, at diversification in a broader sense, in a holistic sense, and helping the clients with that. And that clearly is a differentiator or opposes with most of the players that actually just look for maybe the next trade or the next opportunity to set foot into these into new asset classes or into diversification. Yeah.
And I think as well, it's fair to mention, we really also have dedicated resources across the value chain. Again, I was referring to the fund analyst who is dedicated to digital assets. I can refer to the whole research organization where we have dedicated people on digital assets, on future of finance and all of that. And I could go on and go on, but really have experts, even in wealth planning, dedicated people for that topic, for that kind of new ecosystem. And I think that's as well clearly a differentiation factor, because we can really go into detailed discussion with our clients. It's again, not only about commenting the headline. We can really go in where things can hurt,
That makes a big difference, that is clearly there. I mean, it's certainly fundamented and it's right what you do. Just going a bit deeper into one thing, product side. After the advice, the product side, how are you building on that side? What is the future there? What are the next steps for you?
We have started in building up the product offering with so-called indirect offering, onboarding ETPs where we felt comfortable, where we also really looked into the organizational setup. Yeah. How is the storage there and the like. Yeah. Then we started in onboarding structured product as well, because as you know, sometimes you want to have a different payroll. You like the underlying, but you want to have it a bit more aggressive, less aggressive, and that's where you think about structured product. And then we also realized the strong need in having like direct exposure, and that's where we integrated the digital assets in all our tools, and these are mainly FX tools, where you can now trade digital assets similar as a currency pair, and that then also gets properly integrated in your client statement and the like. Furthermore, if you think about digital asset, again, it's a new asset class, and I remember 20, 30 years ago, like all the interesting strategies on the hedge funds, long, short, and all of that, this was driven by sometimes a not that liquid market, and there were plenty of opportunities to play kind of arbitrage strategies and the like.
Totally.
And digital asset, we are at the beginning, and that also, and we truly believe, or I truly believe, that there are a lot of opportunities to apply some of those strategies, which you see in traditional hedge funds, if I may call it like that you now move them into digital assets. And that's also where we have onboarded 1-2 managers with super interesting products where they really try to run different of those hedge fund strategies in a nascent asset class as digital asset is.
Now you also have a big project coming up in the NFT space. So can you tell us a bit more about that? You're getting into digital art as Julius Baer. That must be really exciting.
No, it's super exciting, and at the moment there is a lot of things going on. We refer to Dubai, and that's at the Art Dubai,
Yes.
where we will release our first digital art with an artist. I think it's one of the most famous artists when it comes to digital art, Refik Anadol. We will launch with him a digital art where we also will provide NFT. It's called Glacier Dreams, and for that he was using a lot of machine learning, obviously, but then also like personal inputs, and the outcome is really fascinating. And I really look forward for the launch 1st of March at the Art Dubai, and there will clearly be more to come here.
Maybe the last question. Now you're also entering AssetRush Geneva. What do you expect from the people there, and what do you expect from the interactions at AssetRush?
When we talk about the interaction, having a very French name, Marc Blunier, it can't get more French, but I really struggle to have like professional speeches in French. Therefore, I hope that I can stay with English, or German, but preferably English. But what I would expect in AssetRush, the same as I have expected and have seen here in Zurich, it's a great ecosystem. It's an open ecosystem, which sometimes for traditional bankers is something new, because we are more used to have closed ecosystems. Everyone is doing a bit things by themselves. But having AssetRush as a platform where you have innovators, where you have disruptors, where you have professional investors, but you also have like thought leaders there and traditional banks, that ecosystem really is super powerful, and out of that ecosystem, really a lot can result out of it. Because again, I think the biggest successes you never write by yourself. It's always a combination of engagement, and that's what I would expect at AssetRush in Geneva.
Thank you very much for that feedback and also your engagement in AssetRush. I think Julius Baer is a very, very valuable partner in this ecosystem. I'm sure people can expect a lot from you there, and it certainly helps everyone to get to a holistic, differentiated side of the business and collaborate together for a greater future of finance.
We are proud to be there.
So happy to have you there, and I look forward to see you on stage.
Thank you
so much.